Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the AI Interconnect, the podcast where we explore the ideas, people, and technology shaping the future of business. I'm your host, Lauren. Today, we are talking about fan engagement, sports monetization, and founder growth with someone who has spent years building companies and helping other founders scale. My guest today is Patrick McGuire, founder and CEO of Fanatics. And Fanatics is focused on helping sport team transform fan engagement into measurable revenue and deeper relationship with their audience. Patrick is also the founder of Empowered Entrepreneur, where he works closely with funders and executive on strategy, growth, funding, and leadership. Patrick has helped funders raise capital, refine strategy, and accelerate growth across several industries. And today we explore Patrick's journey, the story behind Fanatics, and what the future of fan engagement and data-driven sports organization might look like. Patrick, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Laurent. You make it sound like I actually know what I'm doing.
Did I say something stupid?
Sounds great. I love it. This is a better intro than I do for myself, so I appreciate it very much.
Wonderful. Okay, Patrick, a friendly conversation, as we say. Let's
Yes, sir.
start with your journey. You have built companies, raised capital, and advised many funders. Um, what originally pulled you into entrepreneurship?
It can be posted all the way back, if you will, into my younger years. And I've heard this statement before, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it might be in my case. And entrepreneurs or founders, independent thinkers, and operators are typically structured or built because of an overbearing mother in the absence of a father's love. Now, I won't say that's true, but my mom is a pretty determined lady, and she does make sure we're driven of course, and my dad wasn't he didn't it was not that he didn't love us. We were a divorced family, but we saw him all the time. So I wouldn't say it was absence of love. I wouldn't say it was an overbearing mother, but I watched both my parents, on both sides and my step parents, of course. They were all in business and in entrepreneurship. They all had a side hustle. They all had something they did. My parents built a real estate company here in Ontario in Canada. And while my stepfather was a pilot with Air Canada, my dad was an HR consultant and HR executive. So he ran two businesses at the same time, if you will. And I've seen them work for some of the biggest names you can imagine. And it's very exciting. So perhaps that's where it started out. Or, Laurent, it might be because I'm a little bit crazy and completely unemployable in a good way. I'm a true entrepreneur. I would say I started doing shirts in high school. Me and a couple of buddies did shirts for our group of friends that like to work out and play sports. And a few of them went on to build actual full blown companies just focused on clothing. And I went into other categories, sports and nutrition, sports tech, and things like that. And then I circled into fintech and HR tech. I should say HR tech, then fintech. And now, full circle, the vision that I have is I want to do things that are more passionate, more exciting. And I've taken all those experiences that I've learned along the way from the time I was in high school, through university, through the military, building all these small businesses to support those things, and now I've wrapped them up into my consulting as Empowered Entrepreneur. And I've super focused on sports tech and focused all those wonderful experiences into Fanatics.
I love it. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Over the years, you have worked closely with many funders and operators.
Yes.
From your perspective, what patterns do you see among funders who successfully build companies compared to those who struggle?
Yeah. I think one of the best things is planning right from the beginning, the end goal in mind. And I do this with everybody that I work with personally as clients of mine. And I provide the advisory services with that is okay, great. That looks like a great idea. And then what? Elaborate on that. Tell me what your expected outcome is. What's your goal. And if I could take it back to when we built an HR tech company, I wasn't even in HR tech, but a friend of mine asked me for some direction. He knew I was an entrepreneur. I've always been since right out of university and the military. And I built Empowered Nutrition. You'll pick up an empowered theme as we keep going. Um, but he asked for some help in some marketing materials because I had a graphics art background. I have experience with Photoshop. I had a guy on my team. In fact, it was my cousin, a graphic designer. So we helped do that. I ended up having to do most of it for him. Then he said, I need a sales funnel. And then it came down to, can you help me structure this product? I want to do software. What we found out was he was trying to sell consulting and he couldn't sell anything. So then when we went to software, we realized that he couldn't sell. He was the problem. Brilliant guy, incredible consulting guy, one of the best HR people you've ever run across. He was in the top 25 of 25 HR consultants in the world. That's amazing. At 25 years old, he's crushing it. Couldn't sell. If he had a setter and closer, which is a very common thing now, he could be the delivery. He could be amazing. So he asked me to help with the HR tech. I said, well, let's see what we can do. And if I'm going to get involved, you should do it on this platform. Here's the advisory I would go. I would exit, I would grow, I would do these things. But ultimately we said, we're going to go to the Salesforce platform. And he said, no. And I said, and here's the 5 exits that we're going to take. He's like, that's nuts. No way. We haven't even started coding on the platform. And I said, if I'm involved, it's those 5 exits that we are going to work with. And Laurent, I tell it to every single individual founder. And I just saw a message come up from another founder now asking for some help. And he's really,
Cool.
he wants a quick exit and that's not going to happen. But I said, if we do this in 3 to 5 years, we want an offer from all 5 companies. If they make an offer earlier or anyone else makes an offer, we'll go for a coffee. But we were planning the exit from the very beginning. And I tell every founder to do that. The mistake is they rush and build a product. They spend thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars making something that perhaps nobody actually wants. And that's a big problem for me. That's not
Yep.
thinking for your future. It's not taking care of those people that work with you, your employees, your family. You're just planning for the quick, let's get to market. No, let's plan for 3, 5, 10, 20 years down the road. Let's plan to be the next $100 million company coming out of whatever country you start in. So I think founders make that mistake of rushing to market and not truly understanding their audience, the opportunity, and ultimately the exit.
Love it. I love it. Very cool. Good analysis. Okay, let's move to Fanatics. Your platform um, focuses on helping sport teams turn
Mhm.
fan engagement into revenue and actionable insights. Um, what was the initial insight that led you to build Fanatics?
I would say it was a really crazy, God inspired opportunity that came around. As you know, I'm on the board of advisors and mentors for Altitude Accelerator, Futurepreneur, startup stage, Think Fish. So we help startups. We interview them, we identify their opportunities, we help them raise capital, we make introductions, we find them developers and partners to work with, or even exit strategies, because I always like that. And I noticed that my portfolio for sports tech seemed to be growing and gravitating towards me for some reason. I don't know the true answer, but I will say, Laurent, I am very passionate about sports and technology and marketing. I love high compete levels. Doesn't matter what it is. Maybe a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, but I live vicariously through all these founders that I work with. And they all kept coming and saying, actually, we need somebody a little more senior with a little more experience. I think politely they were calling me old, but I joined some of their boards. I brought them under my portfolio and I realized that there's some synergies, even though they all run in different lanes. And the opportunity came when one of my good friends, he owns an advisory agency service for athletes, asked me to help him structure his company and come up with a plan. And I went, you need to be a portfolio of companies the way that I have a portfolio. And you need to do that. And he came to me and said, hey, look, I'm also one of the advisors for our league, a very prominent Ontario junior hockey league. And he owns a couple of teams. in different levels. And he says, they want to do a payment solution for next year, but I know, fintech, they want to charge us like $2 per ticket on a $10 or $12 ticket. And I said, that's theft. It's wrong. And he says, well, we need to come up with some more marketing initiatives because these teams are struggling and they're not making end to ends meet. And I said, well, here's what I actually have planned for the future. I'm going to bring all of my sports tech portfolio into sort of a package or umbrella. And the thing that's going to drive it will be this concept that I stumbled across that's been reiterized and revised over the years. And it's the concept of a merch-based giveaway for charities and causes. So that's what Fanatics was. It was like, oh, we can do more merchandise for people, for teams. We can do a rev share so teams make more money than trying to sell a crappy t-shirt out of the back of a crappy little pro shop in an arena or stadium that nobody's ever seen or don't know about. We can help them sell those online and reach a bigger audience. With our technology background, our sensors can go on vehicles and we can actually capture device ID. We'll know if they go to the games, and if they use our payment system, they know that they made a payment. If they do buy a shirt online or a hoodie to support their team, we enrich that data. We know that as well. And we love marketing, and ultimately we do it to a contest where we can give away a truck or a car or whatever you want. So what was the inspiration of this, Fanatics? It was my sports tech portfolio and a friend of mine asking for some help. And that's what came out. We have Fanatics. It's where passion meets purpose. We turn passionate fans into revenue generating fanatics. It's a complete engagement platform for sports teams. And we're very excited to do this, to bring sponsors and teams together and to help the athletes. So it's a win-win-win and a win for me doing this business. So it's very fun. And that's really what business has got to be.
I love it. Okay, amazing, amazing. Sports organization often have extremely passionate fan, obviously, but passion alone doesn't always translate into sustainable revenue.
No.
Many and many teams focus heavily on ticket sales and merchandise.
Yes.
Where do you see the next major revenue opportunity for sports organizations?
Data, the fan data, the what I would call the fan engagement, getting them engaged in the activities, in the sports, in the teams, in the hype and the support. So you got to do a lot of things with social media to keep them excited. But capturing that data of who the fan is, really knowing who they are, how many games they go to, what seats do they sit in? And we don't even have to know exactly what seat. Our sensor would know roughly where in the stadium they are. And we give them something special, give them an experience, a chance to not just buy a ticket, but to actually get a free entry into winning a VIP experience, some swag, or ultimately shoot the puck or kick the ball or shoot the hoop, hole in one to actually win a truck in this case. Right now, we've got a campaign going, shoot the puck to win the truck. That's all great. But along that way, as I mentioned, we're capturing that fan data. We're enriching that data every step of the way. We enhance it. And then the retargeting, remarketing is usually where teams fail. They do not have a department, a division, or even a person that's dedicated to that concept of retargeting, remarketing. They also don't really realize that they have an ability to backfill products and services for their fans. So if they saw a new cool hockey stick, like one of the groups we're working with, they actually have an amazing hockey stick, reasonably priced, all this stuff. Those fans might also be buyers of the hockey stick. So we can do that promotion and generate additional back-end revenue for the teams and clubs. We know that if they scan to win the truck, even if they went for free, they didn't want to buy a shirt or a ticket to get into the game. We know if they scanned it while driving down the highway, they might be interested in a truck or a car. Might be 6 months. It might be a year. Maybe they just want to try and win for free. We now have that data that we can actually share that with sponsors and back-end sales for teams and leagues, making their relationship with the fans stronger and making the relationship with sponsors stronger and attracting more sponsors they've never met before, because Fanatics brings sponsors to teams and leagues. So I really think the fan data, the enrichment and the engagement is the big ticket. And if you follow all the messaging and the new investments, 63 million into a soccer technology company, a football FC, proper FC, if you will, uh, it's quite amazing. Apple bought a Formula One team. They didn't buy it for the marketing. They didn't buy it for the fans, although those two things are really nice bonuses, benefits. They bought it for the processes and systems of the pit crew and chief because they go into systems and they operate like that in seconds. And they know operational efficiency and they can then execute that with the data and they can do something special. So these are some interesting directions that sports tech is going, and I think it's going to be massive in the next 3 to 5 years.
Amazing. Awesome. Okay, let's talk about the reality of building a company itself. And every funder faces difficulty or difficult moments
Mm.
while building a platform. Um, what has been some of the biggest challenges you have faced while building Fanatics?
Yeah, whether it's building Fanatics or anything else, and I'll just say if anyone's listening, it's Fanatixx, Fanatics or Fanatiques. If I said it like Laurent, he's much better at it because it's fans, apparel, engagement, tickets, payments. But building that company and building any other company, in fact, when I help entrepreneurs, they're usually struggling with getting everything ready to go to market, understanding the go to market launch, which I have the same struggles. I'm not special. I've just failed many times, so I know what to do. And then we have this concept of I need money now. Do I raise capital? Do I do sales? All these things come into thought. But the reality is great founders will allocate a specific amount of time, whether it's 3 to 6 months on the go to market and 3 to 6 months on raising capital or vice versa, whichever one's more important. The failure that founders always experience is not having enough capital, not having enough time, and not having enough runway. And the last thing is trying to do it all. That's the biggest failure that all founders have. They try and do it all. They keep the team as skinny as possible because they want to shrink overheads. I'd rather say give them more equity if you can't pay them today, or find a way to pay them, then go and execute. Because you cannot be full-time fundraising, full-time sales, full-time development, full-time marketing, and full-time boss. You'll fail 5 times over. So that's my biggest pet peeve and problem is they're not getting the right direction and they're trying to do everything and boil the ocean and all they get is bad fish.
That's good challenges. Yes, introducing new technology into an established industry like sports can be difficult.
Yes.
And what barriers have you encountered when introducing a new platform to teams
Mm.
or organizations?
Nobody trusts that. They just don't trust us. Just trust me. Take my word for it, and
Uh,
it's challenging. I would say Fanatics has a very unique position in this because there's about 5 revenue layers for sponsors and partners. There's 7 revenue layers for teams and leagues. There's also revenue layers that we generate, and they're always skeptical for the fact that we say, hey, we can ultimately do all these things and we can give away a truck for free to your fan, whoever wins, right? And they're like, I don't get it. You want to give it away for free, but why is it going to cost me a couple $1,000s? Well, a couple $1,000s for a year of marketing and the data that you're going to get and the fan analytic engagement, the technology, the sensors, like that's way too overwhelming. Introducing this technology and all these layers, how they work together. Most people want to try and understand it. And that's the challenge. An investor might want to understand it. You do have to help them understand it because they're investing. But a champion of a sports organization has to trust you. So you have to be able to show basic execution, especially in day one when you have no clients, let's say, and you have to build trust and rapport. Once they know they can trust you or they see that there's proof, They don't care how you get it done. They care that you get it done, and then you backdoor them and tell them, "By the way, we have all your fan data. Would you like us to retarget that for you, or would you just like the raw data?" And they're like, "I don't even know what to do with that." So it's typically, "We'll do the re-engagement retargeting for you. Let us take
Yeah.
care of it. Don't worry about the tech. We've done it for you. You have to decide, do you want more fans, more revenue, and more social experiences for more marketing, and you want to give something away for free? If you want all that, don't worry about how it works. We get it done. You don't have to worry about it."
Love it. Wonderful. Building a company often require a long period of uncertainty.
It-
And how do you personally stay focused and resilient through those moments?
I don't. Honestly, Laurent, that's a great question. It's always different. Everybody's got their different mechanism. For me, I have a certain routine in the morning that I need to do. I call it Bible and body. I get up in the morning, I do a little light stretch just to get moving. I drink certain waters and magnesium and salt. I always have salt, by the way, salt and lemon. That's a big deal. And then I'll sit down and read. I'll do a Bible study devotional, meditate on that for a bit. Then I'll go knock out roughly 100 to 500 reps of mixed exercises, just body weight and kettlebells. And all of that sets me up for the day. And I call it the Founders 100. I tell all my founders I work with, you need to do your Founders 100. Did you do your 100 today? And it just sets me up before the family's even awake. Then I sit down and I go, okay, what are the things that need to be accomplished today? So it's my SOPs. Maybe that's a little bit of my military coming back, but knowing my SOPs, what I get done on
Nice.
these things make the day successful. And I do not consume any electronic social media at all in the mornings. I try to consume very little. I push social media. I try not to consume it, but I do, but definitely not in the morning. It throws me off. I'm a simple man, Laurent. I'm like a dog, a hunting dog, squirrel, bird, go. Social media is draining our creativity. It's draining our time and our resources to focus on what's important, which, I have mine. I call it my faith, family, friends, fitness, finances. Um, Quite honestly, if I sit and watch social media for the first half hour of the day, it screws your brain up chemically and neurologically, messes up your schedule and your timeline. So I tell founders, find a routine that works for you. Execute that so it's almost like you're a robotic standard operating procedures. And then focus on what's really important. In this case, Fanatics, aligned with my sports tech portfolio, has taken precedent over everything in my life right now. I'm helping companies like Pickeat, Scout Sync, Fanatics, 3ND. I can keep going. I have a great sports tech portfolio. Like I said, they all run separate lines. They all serve each other differently. They serve the clients differently, but ultimately they all benefit the client, the exact same client. So that keeps me really focused, even though I've got multiple lanes to run in. They're all getting me to the same goal, and it's easy enough to build a friendship with, say, Laurent, the FC club owner. He's got FC Madrid. No, I one day you
No,
will.
Barcelona, no Madrid.
See, I saw the
No
Madrid team right
Madrid.
there, but I should have thought of that. Yeah, you're Barcelona. That's right. But if I
Okay.
went to you, the owner of the stadium or the club, and I said, "Hey, we've got Fanatics and we could do this for you and increase fan engagement, collect data." And then I said, "We're friends now. We've done business. You might want to look at Pickheat, where we can increase the fan optimization of your concessions and increase revenues, and the fan experience goes up. Shorter lines, less food wastage." And I say, for your athletes, I can bring in my partners with Scout Sync, and they do all the athlete engagements to help them get schools and division ones and twos and universities getting professional jobs and positions with scouts and recruiting. And then I go, and then when they retire, we can go to 3ND where they're doing a mashup head to head of basketball and soccer, football and hockey and lacrosse and hockey, taking slightly semi recently retired athletes and doing a full Netflix style documentary on the competition. we can bring that in because we're friends now. And again, they're all different lanes, but they're all in the same category. And I'm very passionate, as you can tell, about each one of those for different reasons.
I love it. Wonderful. You are also deeply involved in helping funders through Empower Entrepreneur. What inspired you to build that platform?
My own failures, my own struggles, and my desire to help others. That's,
Okay,
I can't
love
say it
it.
any longer or better than that.
Yeah, of course. What are some of the biggest mistakes funders make? Funders, not you,
Okay.
when trying to raise funding.
Um, their constant lack of focus. Like I said earlier, you're either raising capital, building a product, or going to market. Figure out which one you're doing. So they end up trying to do everything. So focus on fundraising. Let's say get the whole team on board. You tell your dev team to go do this. I'm thinking dev technology. Obviously, I like AI and dev, or it could be a product. You guys take care of that. Marketing team, you take care of that. All I'm going to do as the founder CEO is raise capital for the next 6 months. And when I say raise capital, I'm going to tell you a formula right now, Laurent, that works. I have a whole bunch of AI automations, as you know, for outreach. First of all, scraping and finding contacts, connecting, cold outreach, warm introductions. I have a trust funnel sequence that runs them through in a matter of a few days if we wanted to. That approach works, but you have to be prepared to do the hard work up front, which is set it up or call somebody that can do it for you. I have a team that can help people, by the way. But I'm going to tell you, as a founder, the first thing I want you to do, go to your LinkedIn, look at your network, look at all your contacts. 100 outreach messages a day for 30 days. That's it. Nothing special. Hey, I was wondering if I can get your opinion on this, Laurent. I'm working on this new project. It's really cool. I just need your insight because I like something you said, right? Something you've done for me in the past, or I owe you a favor. Could you look at this and give me some opinions? I respect you. And most people go, yeah. Or I got a 3-minute video. I'm curious if you could just give me your feedback on it. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're friends. Of course, Laurent, I'll look at that. And then I come back. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And my message usually would be either in the video or in the email or in the document would be, do you know anyone that might be interested in this? Usually, if it's an investor, they're like, I'm a little pissed off and offended, Laurent. Why didn't you ask me? I would like to invest in the company. They'll let you know either way. They'll say, yeah, me, or no, I don't know anyone, or maybe I do know someone. But 100 messages a day, specifically targeted at outreach, without asking for the ask until they tell you they're interested. I think that's a very important thing to do for the next 30 days for any founder. That's a fast start. And while you're doing that, you set up all your cold outreach campaigns, your messaging, because you're learning through the whole process on what messaging is right.
Love it. Amazing. This podcast explores the intersection of technology and business. From your perspective, how is AI starting to influence industries like sport engagement and fun experiences?
Yeah, it's massive. It's changing. Everything's changing so fast. You know, AI scares a lot of people. They think they're going to be out of jobs. I don't. I actually think the opposite. It's creating new opportunities for us. As we create better technologies, it's happened in history for a long time, since the invention of a horse to a car. You create a better thing, you create better people, better humans. So in this case, we're creating better AI to create better humans. We use the AI as a tool, a hammer, if you will. AI is creeping in so fast, and it's allowing us to do outreach faster, to connect with people faster, to build pitch decks and websites, even building products. In fact, I built a LinkedIn optimizer on the weekend, and it's pretty cool. I didn't write a line of code. As you know me, I don't write code anymore. um, just blown away what you could do, and I'm really a hack at AI. I like it, I use it a lot, don't get me wrong. But when it comes to things like fan engagement in the sports tech world, I mentioned earlier that we're able to capture the fan data from a mobile device ID, which I don't know it's you, Laura, I just know it's your device. But once you trigger something, like you've scanned and you've entered your data to win the truck, even if it's for free, I now have a connection device plus Laurent. Okay. And then we go to buying tickets. We're able to enrich that data. We then use AI to go and enrich that data even further. It uses a public scraping AI tool that can find all your data and pull it into our system. And now we know that you have like 5 different emails. We know what job you work at, what your job title is, thanks to LinkedIn and Facebook and other things. We know where you live within reason, not exactly. I can't pinpoint you, but we know within reason what your salary range is. And if you're on a publicly documented sunshine list or something, we know exactly how much you make. That is AI at work that we can then take and leverage into our cold outreach campaigns for new sponsors, new teams and leagues. We can take that data, the enriched, not the scaled down version, but the truly enriched data and give it back to our existing sponsors who are part of that campaign, to the existing teams that are part of that campaign. And then we tell them, by the way, I know you don't know how to reach this. Excuse me. We have a tool, and yes, it has humans and AI, and we can do it for you. So AI is getting big in the world today, and it's just how you use that new tool. That's all. It's a shiny new hammer, my friend.
Yeah, no, definitely. And okay, then what area of sport technology or fun engagement do you believe remain underdeveloped?
Underdeveloped. That's an interesting one because I don't know what I don't know. I don't know every tool that's out there. I mean, I just honestly why I'm doing this. I think fan engagement and activation. So the activation's a new word that I'm throwing into this conversation, but the activation of the fan and their data is really important. But the underdeveloped side of it is not just the activation, but how you actually understand and relate to that fan. So it'd be great. I got your email. I can just message you and blanket you and bomb you all sorts of messages. But understanding, and again, using AI and other technologies, understanding the segregation of that fan, creating a true profile for every fan, truly engaging. I've got a good friend, Shannon. She's with Fan Saves. We actually have a call tomorrow to get together and hang out. It's been a long time. But they help do that. They help understand what the fans want. They provide them with incredible savings, coupons, marketing, if you will, for teams, leagues, grocery stores, chains, all in that area. And really giving the fans exactly what they want when they want it is more important. And I think all of us, even us included, we're still working on this. We can do a better job. I think it's underdeveloped right now. The other one that's kind of big, but it isn't underdeveloped, it's just not at fruition, is the data analytics of the athletes that they're involved with. So there's a company that came out of the woodwork. It was quite amazing, and they partnered with Gatorade. They're able to put a little tab on you, and they'll know what your sweat analysis is, and if you're dehydrated or too high or too low electrolytes. I know the background of that one, and it's an amazing technology. But the reality is, some marketing guy or girl suggested it just goes on a little tab and it just changes color. So they dumbed down the technology to a marketing gimmick. But when you go full sensor, and Whoop is doing a good job at this. I like professional cycling. I think I've told you that in the past. And when I lived in France and Aix-en-Provence, I was able to go and watch them fly by me when I was a little young man, 14 years old, 15. And they didn't have any tech. They didn't have a computer on their bike. So now with these chest straps, with the whoops and the arms and the bicep bands, the Oura rings and all these things, there's an amazing amount of data that you could capture. The average person doesn't know how deep. They just think, check my heart rate, check my blood pressure type thing, check my calorie burn and my walk. Um, there's one that is getting very close. It was a combination between AWS and Whoopstrap and the UCI, that's cycling. They did a Champions League, which took the best of the velodromes, the track stars of the world, and they would do a weekend in Barcelona, a weekend in England, a weekend in France, a weekend in Sweden. It was just quite amazing, and they would have like 30, 40 different races. What they did is they had all the athletes wear the Whoop strap, and I'm not trying to promote Whoop by any means. I'm just fascinated because I watched it live on live stream. And if you were there, Laurent, and you had your phone and you saw Laurent warming up on his bike, you can walk up and you could say, you could use anyone's Hoagland or Geraint Thomas, and you could go and walk up to them and go with your phone and the AWS app, scan the person. It would tell you how well rested they are, how their calorie expenditure is, what their heart rates are. Absolutely phenomenal. That is fan engagement and athlete data together to make better athletes, to give the fans a better experience. I don't think enough people are using that, but I get it. It's still nascent industry and it is really big.
It's big. My son is using it.
Is he?
That's funny. Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Okay, then um, if you could go back and give advice to your younger self at the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, what would it be, or what would you say?
Don't do it. No. um,
Fuck it, let's do
all
it.
yeah, all kidding aside, it would really be focus harder and deeper. Go faster. The only thing you're going to get by going slower is finding out you made a mistake and burn through more money or time. So focus
That's right.
faster. If you know without shadow of a doubt that that is a 90% chance of success, you need to go as hard and as fast as you can and get it done. And if you fail and burn trying, next. A friend of mine taught me that a long time ago when we were doing sales calls when I was a young man. He says, "Hey, Patty, just go through this and take your list. You need 13 no's to get a yes." Okay. I didn't like it at all. And I started making those calls. And I'm like, I got a yes at 9, or number 13. I'm like, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point someone saying, why are you so happy? I just said no, because you're number 13. What does that have to do with it? Because 13 no's gets me a yes. So my next call is probably going to be a yes. Thank you so much. So that was something I learned fast. And I'm telling it to founders and entrepreneurs. It's take the no's. You're going to get a yes. Go faster. Don't stretch out the no's. Like I said, with the 100 outreach messages, 100 outreach
Yeah.
messages a day for 30 days. That's just me forcing you to go a little faster, but also keeping you kind of protected in your comfort zone because it's behind a computer screen. But that's okay too. You're going to get less response on a personal call, but it works. So go faster, take the no's and accept the yeses, or vice versa. Take the yeses because they got some cash or investments, accept the no's.
Wonderful. I love it. Patrick, thank you for joining us. It's great sharing your experience, insight, and vision. I just love it. It was a great
Thank you,
learning.
Laurent. It's my
Great
pleasure,
learning.
honestly. I love our conversations.
Thank you so much. We need 4 hours, like always, but okay, it's we'll do it in the background, and
That'd be great. I would love to.
it was great learning about Fanatics and your work for funders, and how technology is shaping the future of fan engagement. I just love it. Um, where where can people find you or learn about your work?
Great question. I think the best place for me is LinkedIn. You can go to linkedin.com/IN/McGuire P, McGuirep, as in Patrick. You'll find usually this big smiling head on there. You can't miss it. But please send me a direct message, whether you're a founder or you're raising funds, looking for capital. Maybe you're a sports tech portfolio or real estate that needs some help. I'm happy to engage and help. I love helping founders as much as possible. And if you're in the sports tech category, you know I've probably already got a lane to put you in and introduce you to some people that are doing incredible things like buying teams, buying stadiums. And I've got a very unique way, Laurent. Anyone that contacts me on LinkedIn, ask me how I can insert you into their bid to take over these teams. And therefore, you get a guaranteed sports tech contract on the other side. So, LinkedIn, McGuire P.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Laurent. I appreciate the time and thanks for the invite. This was wonderful. And I look forward to more conversations with you like our last one.
Definitely. Thanks, Patrick. And that's it for today's episode of AI Interconnect. If you enjoy it, share it with someone who is building the future, or better yet, someone who should be. And until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep building. Thanks.
Merci. À la
Ciao, Patrick.
prochaine.
Au revoir.